everyone, welcome back to Cranio Family Vlog. Today we are answering another question about craniosynostosis in the month of September. And today we are following up the question that we had yesterday, which was talking about recovery in the PICU. Today we are going to answer the question, what is it like to come home after recovery?
One of the big things that we want to get out there is that much like this video is a sigh of relief from the downward spiral of preparing for surgery and going through surgery for craniosynostosis, this is the chance that you as a family finally are going to be able to breathe again. Things are going to change and there's a lot that's going to be going on, but one of the biggest things you can do for yourself is to make sure that you don't come home alone. There's a lot to be said about having people who are willing to do things for you. You know, from taking care of siblings or throwing a load of clothes in the wash or running dishes. There's a lot that people can do to help that will make the transition into your home a good thing, because you have to remember that once you get home, that's where your recovery really starts. That's where everything is truly beginning, because everything is finally behind you.
And we talked a little bit about how hospital time tends to stand still. Now the reverse is true when you come home. For me, it felt a little bit like waking up on a moving treadmill, where suddenly I kind of had to catch my breath and just kind of keep going because time just kept getting thrown at me. And with meals and medications and trying to help Zoe get to sleep, and suddenly all of the daily things seemed to be on a much faster pace than I remembered and what I was used to.
Much like everything in life, one of the other things you can expect is a lot of change. You've already gone through a lot of the stuff with surgery. You watch your child's head swell, their eyes swell shut and come back. But there's a lot of things that are going to change because of your child's surgery. And it's mostly for in the short term, but you have to expect change. You have to expect sleep schedules to be off, eating schedules to be off, diaper changes to be just all over the place. There's going to be a lot of time that all the child wants to do is just cuddle, and you need to be able to pause life and just cuddle.
And so because of that, there are a few things you will want to make sure you have kind of a good grasp on as the time is really just kind of slipping away. You're going to want to understand those discharge papers when you get home. So kind of pay attention to the nurse who's going through all of that with you before you leave, to make sure you understand the medications that are allowed, the time frequency, how long you should be expecting swelling or pain or any of the symptoms that your surgeon has probably brought up with you. Just to kind of keep all of that in mind so that you feel like you can do it when you get home, and so that isn't a headache where you're having to suddenly call the hospital with extra phone calls that maybe wouldn't have been needed had you just kind of planned ahead for that a little bit.
One of the big things that's going to change a lot is how your child sleeps. Now, if you think back to the time in the PICU, your child's bed is more than likely a hospital bed or a hospital crib, so the head's actually elevated, and this is to help reduce swelling, help increase drainage, increase airflow. It's just more comfortable for the child as they're recovering. One of the things that we found with every single surgery is by putting something underneath the mattress on the head side of the child's bed, it's going to go a long way to not just help reduce swelling and keep swelling away, but it's also going to reduce pain, and it's going to help the child stay stable. I know one of the biggest fears we had for Zoe for almost every single surgery is that she was going to roll herself out of bed and crack her head on the hardwood floors that we have. And that's just something we didn't want to have to deal with. And
you do, especially for infants, you will want to make sure that any extra blankets or the sheepskin are underneath that sheet, just for the whole safety factor of not having any loose things within their cribs. And moving on to the next thing, which also has to do with sleep. I've noticed, especially in our family, our kids are very active. Possibly even more active than typical kids, I don't know. But there is a very big change that happens after surgery. Suddenly, Zoe's energy just plummets. It's usually a few days before she will even get off the couch. When you think about having kids stay home from school sick and being on the couch with chicken noodle soup and kind of watching TV all day, that's kind of how it is for about a week. Zoe probably averaged about 3 to 4 days before she'd even be getting up, and she is typically a very active kid. And you know, once that week mark hit, she was running just like everyone else suddenly. But yeah, for that little bit of time, it really does. It's very noticeable. Suddenly they just have no energy and they sleep quite a bit.
Another thing that makes things really easy, or at least easier, is to remember the simple fact that there's absolutely no shame in the meal train. You know, there's a lot of ways that people want to help. They want to come do things for you. And one of the things that people love to do is meal trains. I know that for us, it was a huge benefit to know that we didn't have to prepare that dinner, or we had somebody bringing lunch, or we had somebody bringing breakfast. Just remember that when somebody offers to set you up on a meal train, accept it. And then remember that not everybody needs to bring dinner. Ask for things that can be frozen, ask for things that can be kept longer, because you're going to find that your appetite's much lower than it has been historically. So you're going to have more food that you're going to want to put into a freezer or a deep freeze if you have one. But, you know, let people shower that gift upon you. It is an amazing way that community gets to come together and say, we don't know exactly what you just went through, but we feel for you, and this is our way of helping out.
Even beyond that, if there are people who are wanting to help, if you have older kids who maybe need some extra watching, an extra babysitter during the day while you have some extra doctor's appointments for follow-ups, whatever you need with your Cranio baby, that's a great time to kind of take them up on that. Like, hey, would you mind watching my toddler, or whatever age your other child is, while you're doing that? Or even cleaning house. We had one family friend who was amazing, who cleaned the entire house for us before we got back from the NICU. And that was amazing to come back to a completely clean house. So kind of just think outside the box. If you've got the meals covered, there are a lot of things that are really, really helpful to have, just to have those extra things checked off where you don't have to worry about them, and it allows you to spend more time with that baby as you're recovering.
And here we are. We're at the end of the video. So today we discussed a little bit about what life is like when you transition home. Basically what you need to do is remember that though time is going to speed up, you need to do your best to slow down and just take it moment by moment. These are some of the most precious and critical times for most Cranio kids, is post-op and finally being home recovering, and it's going to go a long way to help you with your child. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close out the video for today. We do appreciate you stopping by. If you'd like to learn more about our 5 years of parenting a Cranio child, or the other the children that have followed her, please head over to our blog at craniofamilyblog.com and check out what we have there. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, so that way you can stay up with us as we are continuing rounding out our month-long vlog series about craniosynostosis. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for stopping by.